Hi there, hope you're doing well. Oh, a bit of a frog in my throat. Um, I'm not doing very well today. I'm having a really bad day today. Um, I don't know what it is. Everything and everybody seems to be triggering me today. I'm just not. I'm that close to having a meltdown. In fact, I did have a bit of a meltdown this morning because, yeah, I just think everything. I don't. I mean, relatively speaking, I've been coping okay, but it has been really, really hard, and I'm always that much away from having a major meltdown. So anyway, it's just been so today. So yesterday, it was my brother's 60th birthday. So my brother, he he he's got Down syndrome, and he lives in a care home in um about a town about 30 miles away from where I live, and my mum. So it only takes about 35 minutes, 35 to 45 minutes, depending on how fast you go. But so usually, like, the carers bring him up every other weekend, and there's one particular carer who seems to have a bit of an issue with that. I don't know whether it's because he doesn't like my brother coming to see us, or whether it's just too much of a headache getting him ready. But like I say, yesterday was my brother's birthday, so we didn't see him yesterday because he had a party at his care home, so that's fair enough. But then usually it comes up on a Sunday, but the other day I'd gone down and taken some money down for him and requested could he come on today instead of tomorrow, so Saturday instead of Sunday. So the team leader said yes, that's fine, and then said to this carer who seems to have an issue with us that that would be okay. And I could tell that the carer wasn't happy. But I won't go into bore you with all the details. But anyway, so I was expecting, when I phoned up this morning, I was expecting them to say that he couldn't come for some reason, and sure enough, that is what happened. But it wasn't explained to me fully the reasons why. So I was just told that the usual team leader who drives wasn't in today, and because it was this awkward carer that answered the phone. So I was just told that he wasn't in today. So I said I thought he was in all weekend. So he said, yeah, he phoned in last night. He's taken the day off today. So I thought, well, that's not like this team leader. If he knew that, so he made it sound like he was taking it as an annual leave day. And so I thought to myself, that's not like this team leader. He's normally really accommodating. If he'd have known that my brother was coming up today, he wouldn't have taken the day off. So then he didn't make it clear that there wasn't another driver on, because they do have other drivers. And I said, are we still okay for today? So he said, well, no, he can't come up. And that's all he said. So that was like a red rag to a bull, really. So I lost it with him, just because I'm really stressed as well. And I said, you never seem to, I just confronted him and said, you never seem to really want my brother to come up to see us. And after the end of the day, we're his family, and it's his birthday. So it turned into a big argument. He was arguing back, which was very unprofessional of him. And but then when it all turns out, after messaging this team leader and also speaking to the team leader that was actually working today, it seems that he was off sick. So he's not taking his annual leave, and he rung in this morning. So if he'd explained that to me in the first place, then I wouldn't have got so angry. But because of previous instances and his attitude the other day, it just felt to me that because that was what I was expecting him to say, that he couldn't come, and it just felt like it had been like planned, but obviously it hadn't been. If it had been explained to me better in the first place, then I wouldn't have got so angry. I would have been disappointed, obviously. So now, on top of everything else that I've got to do, I'll probably have to go down there tomorrow now to pick my brother up, which then that's going to be like a 3-hour journey plus waiting around for my brother because he's always really slow, and then an hour with my mum. So that's going to be like most of my day basically taken up now because of that. But it's my brother's birthday, so we have to do it. But I've also having to pay my mum's bills, having to sort out her and clear out her bungalow. Then she's still expecting me to visit her every day, which that's going to have to slow down because I just can't do it. I can't physically do it, and mentally I'm under a lot of stress. So I'm also like having trying to message CQC and complain to them about things that have happened over the last few months. And it's just an accumulation of things, isn't it? It's just that's why my blood pressure was so high. Not last week, the week before, because basically my mum was independent and living at home, with a lot of support from myself, but physically she was kind of managing herself, other than a carer going in twice a week to help her have a shower. And then she fell just before Christmas, so it was over the Christmas period. She was in hospital for about a month because she was in a lot of pain. She didn't break anything, she didn't break her hip or anything, but she was in a lot of pain, so she couldn't walk. And then because they didn't really get her up in hospital, then she a lot of muscle wastage, so she lost the ability to walk. So we had to place her in a care home after a lot of deliberation, because my house isn't really suitable because I don't have a downstairs toilet or a separate room that she could live in, sleep in. And at that point she was, well enough to be getting up and sitting out and maybe progressing with therapy up to walking with a Zimmer frame again. And she wouldn't be able to get out of my house because I've got lots of steps in my garden and out of my house. So my house wasn't really suitable at that point. And her bungalow, not suitable either, because there's lots of, even though it's a bungalow, there's lots of steps outside up to the main road. And she'd have to wait for carers to come. She'd be more isolated. Her mental health was suffering anyway because she'd been isolated in her bungalow before. And it wasn't really suitable for me to move in there with her because there's a lot of black mould there. So it's not even suitable for her to go back there because of health reasons. So I found her one care home, and then there was... not going to go into any details, but they were guilty of neglect, basically. So she ended up in hospital with severe sepsis and dehydration and severe constipation, and almost died. The hospital wanted to start her on end-of-life pathway, but then she pulled through, and we'd found this other care home, so she went there. But then the doctors didn't restart her blood thinners that she's meant to be on for her atrial fibrillation. And so a couple of weeks ago, she had a stroke. And I found out, I think I'd only realised a couple of days before that she hadn't been having these blood thinners, and obviously the new care home didn't even know she was on them. And so, yeah, my stress levels, I'd just been away for a few days, and then my stress levels went really high. And then I had really severe nosebleeds. It took me 2 hours to stop. I had 2 of them. I was that close to going to A&E myself. So I thought, I need to check my blood pressure. So I ordered one that from Amazon that said that it's recommended by the NHS, and checked my blood pressure, and it was 164, I think, over 105 the first time I checked it. And I was like, ooh. Thought, well, I'm not really sure that I believe that. So I checked it again, and I got 3 different readings, but they were all high. So I didn't really believe it. So when I went back to the hospital to see my mum, I asked them if they checked my blood pressure for me. And I think when they checked it, it was 174 over 101. So I thought, oh, well, my blood pressure machine must be right. So then I made an appointment for my GP, and he checked it, and it was high. So I've got to have an ECG and bloods done this week coming. But then I've got another appointment with my GP it'll be 4 weeks after that. So in the meantime, I'm doing everything that I can to get my blood pressure down. Otherwise, it's going to put me on medication. And it has come down a little bit, actually. So today, this is why I'm talking about it. So today, because I've literally been so stressed today that really I felt my tolerance for stress at the moment is really, really low. So after that conversation, my stress levels have gone again. So I've just checked my blood pressure, and yes, it is up a little bit compared to what it was, because it had been coming down a bit. So I think it was 138 over 98, which the systolic, the top number, is obviously low, a lot lower than what it was. Still a little bit high, but a lot lower than what it was. The diastolic, obviously a little bit high, but not as high as it had been like the other week when I was really stressed. So I guess that's a positive, really. But what I'm doing, so I just thought I'd tell you what I'm doing to lower my stress levels. So I watched a webinar or a podcast by Peter Osborne the other day, and I think he's an allopathic doctor. I think he's like a regular doctor, but also then he's trained in naturopathic doctor, what they call them over in America. They've got a name for him, functional doctor. He's also a functional doctor, so he's trained in natural remedies. So the things that I've started doing some of the things, taking some of the things that he recommended to get your blood pressure down, not necessarily for stress, to get your blood pressure down. So some of them I already had in the house, which is why I've started taking them. So one of them was that he's recommended vitamin B1, which I found interesting. I can't exactly remember the mechanism behind it, but what he was saying is that a lot of people who have chronic congestive heart failure are deficient in vitamin B1, and then they get put on a diuretic such as furosemide, which my mum's been put on actually, but anyway, and then that depletes the B1 even more, plus other vitamins. So whereas he was saying that there's some studies that have shown that for people who have heart failure, when they take vitamin B1, it improves their symptoms, and it improves their cardiac function. So I will put the link to Dr. Osborne's video actually in the description. Just don't take my word for it, because I'm just doing this off the top of my head. So yeah, take a B vitamin complex, because I haven't got just B1 on its own, but I've got a B vitamin complex. And also B vitamins are really good for your nervous system. So obviously, because I've been stressed, then they're good for that, my nerves. So also I've been taking magnesium, which is really good for blood pressure. I'd read that before, so that's good. I didn't really find that was really helping on its own. So I guess it depends on the cause, doesn't it, of what your high blood pressure, as to what is going to work. I'm just throwing everything at it because I really don't want to go on any medication, basically. So I'm just trying to use every which way to get my blood pressure down. But yeah, so I'm just taking I've reduced it to half the dose, so it says on here. But yeah, you look that one up. I'm not recommending any doses or anything, or I'm just sort of telling you what I'm taking, and I'm not recommending that people take exactly what I'm taking. I'm just showing you what I'm taking. The other one, which is a really good one for heart health, is coenzyme Q10. So, and there have been studies with that have shown that it does help to reduce your blood pressure by like 10 millimoles. So that's quite significant, especially if you combine it with the other stuff. Vitamin D3 also is good for lowering blood pressure. So vitamin D3 turns into a hormone in your body, and it's really good for lots of different systems in your body, your heart health. And a lot of us are deficient in it because either we don't see enough sun, especially in the winter, or when we do go out in the sun, we cover up sunblock. So we block the actual good rays as well as the bad rays. And then I take taurine sometimes anyway, because it's good for cellular health, and it's an anti-aging as well. So, but because of that, the taurine is what is in magnesium taurate. So I'm taking the taurine, half the dose of the magnesium taurate and taurine, but that's just me. I'm not saying that is what you should do. The things so I think they are helping, but other things that I'm doing really is to get my stress levels down a bit more. So things like I started meditating every day and doing some breathing exercises. So again, there's another channel on here that I use for the breathing exercises, which is excellent. And usually in the morning is when my blood pressure is the highest, which surprised me actually. I thought it would be the lowest because I've been resting, but it's not. It's when it's the highest. And when I find that when I've done the breathing exercises the night before, then my blood pressure is not quite as high as it has been. And then exercise is the main one that's actually bringing my blood pressure down. And I can see those results instantly. So this morning, that's why my systolic is quite low today, because I've been to the gym this morning. So I went to the gym this morning, and because my systolic was 159 first thing this morning, and I've not been to the gym for a couple of days. And I noticed this the other day that after I'd been to the gym, my blood pressure later on in the day was the lowest it had been ever. So the exercise definitely is the thing that's bringing my blood pressure down. But I'm sure that the other things that I'm doing are helping as well. So I'm just going to continue with all of them. So that's it really. Just thought I'd tell you what's been going on for me, why I'm so stressed, and also this helps me as well because I haven't really got anybody else that I can talk to about it all, because as well as everything else, I lost my job, as I've already said, in the middle of all of that, and then I did have a friend who was helping me out, walking my dog and things, and then and she looked after her when Mum was really, really poorly in hospital, and they were thinking about putting her end of life pathway. And I'm not going to go into all the details, but a couple of days after that, I discovered that there was some money missing from my house, quite a significant amount of money missing from my house, and she was the only one that had a key. And at the time, I was just so consumed with everything that was going on that I just couldn't do anything about it, because it was just one other thing that I had to deal with, and I just couldn't deal with it. And even now I feel a little bit like that, but all of these things are making me so angry. I think that's the crux of it, because a lot of what has happened over the last few months could have been avoided. Obviously the ruptured gallbladder, that couldn't have been. But if there hadn't been the other things going on, then that would have been picked up earlier and she wouldn't have had the sepsis and blah, blah, blah. So, and then everything else that's happened, the last admission that she had with the stroke, that could have been completely avoided. And it just everything just makes me so angry. So that's why, I think that's probably why the exercise helps. So I've lost a whole group of friends because of that as well, because she's obviously playing the victim and she's been telling everybody that I'm accusing her of something that she hasn't done. And why would I do that when I've got everything else that's going on in my life? Honestly, it's ridiculous. But anyway, you just got to keep on doing what you're doing. Just kind of muddle through the bad days and keep on using the tools and the supplements that I've got, and then hopefully I'll come out of the other side with some sanity left. I don't know. At this point, it's really hard. Sometimes I just think it'd be easier just to go off somewhere and disappear. But I won't do. I just want to get everything sorted out with my mum, and then I can start to take a bit of a back step from it all. Anyway, so sorry about that. Anyway, so thank you for listening to me, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.